Datta, Jai Guru Datta, Sri Guru 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 Datta.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Padavallabha Narasimha Saraswati, Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Guru Datta and welcome to Datta Arpanam with your hosts Rishi Nirvan Baru
and Ravita Singh. Jai Guru Datta, Swagatam, and thank you for tuning in to Datta Arpanam, a showcase of the life, music and teachings of His Holiness Parama Pujya Dr. Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji of Avadhuta Dattapitam in Mysuru. Today's program begins with the offering of pranams, gratitude and this invocation prayer at the sacred feet of beloved Sadgurudeva Pujya Shri Swamiji, as this show, possible only through His divine grace, is offered to him. Please join Pujya Shri Bala Swamiji now in worship.
Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Padavallabha Narasimha Saraswati, Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Shri Ganapati Satchidananda Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gururdevo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Bhuyuta Shri Hari Chinnhitabhyam Agastya Rekhadi Bhiranchitabhyam Nigodha Bijakshara Mudritabhyam Namo Namah Sadguru Padukabhyam. Ganapati Gurumekam Satchidanandarupam Vibhudhanivahasevyam Yogamargadhirudham Sharanamupagatanam Sanghadrivajram Mama Hridaya Nivasam Bhaktinamro Namami, Bhaktinamro Namami.
Once again everyone, Swagatam, and thank you for tuning in to this morning's edition of Datta Arpanam. Today's program is being brought to you through the kind courtesy of Ramlal Educational Institute of number 12 Exchange Lots Couver, Valini's Drug Mart Limited of 58 to 60 Sutton Street, San Fernando, Debe Supermart Limited of 182 SS Erin Road, Debe, and Koke Supermart Limited of 14 Naparima Mayaro Road, San Fernando.
Over the past several weeks on Datta Arpanam, you heard the story of Kurma Avatara and the churning of the ocean. Today, as the Dasha Avatara series continues, we will hear about the Lord's incarnation as Varaha Swami. First, though, let us join together in the worship of the remover of obstacles, Lord Ganapati. Please open the Bhajan Mala app or visit the website www.bhajanmala.com, enter Bhajan ID number 15 and join in singing this divine composition of Pujya Appaji's.
ಕೊಳೆಗೆಲು ತೆಗೆವ ಒಳಗೊಳಗಿರುವ ಕೊಳೆಗೆಲು ತೆಗೆವ ಉಳಿಗಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕರುಣೈ ಕೊಳೆಯಲಿ ಉಳಿಗಿದೆ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕರುಣೈ ಕೊಳೆಯಲಿ ಗಣ 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 ಗಣಪತಿ ಕೊಡು 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 ಸನ್ಮತಿ ಗಣ 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 ಗಣಪತಿ ಕೊಡು 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 ಸನ್ಮತಿ ಗಣ 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 ಗಣಪತಿ ಕೊಡು 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 ಸನ್ಮತಿ ಗಣ 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 ಗಣಪತಿ ಕೊಡು 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 ಸನ್ಮತಿ.
Set to Mohana Ragam, that Lord Ganapati bhajan is both soothing and uplifting. Such is the musical genius of the Nada Maestro himself, Parama Pujya Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji. You were just listening to Pujya Shri Swamiji here on Datta Arpanam. Thank you for tuning in to today's offering, which is coming to you on 103.1 FM through the grace of Pujya Sri Swamiji, and thanks to the sponsorship by Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, Valini's Drug Mart Limited, and Kokie Supermart Limited. As we prepare for today's contemplation, please join in worshipping Nara Narayana Maharishis, Goddess Saraswati, and Sage Vyasa. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet.
Today, we pay tribute to Varaha Swami by contemplating upon his story. Varaha Swami was born on Bhadrapada Shukla Tritiya, the last fortnight of the Chaturmasya, and a day before Vinayaka Chaturthi. Other names for this lord are Yajna Varaha, Lakshmi Varaha, and Shreta Varaha. Actually, that lord is the land donor for the lord of Kali Yuga, Sri Venkateshwara Swami. He donated Tirumala to Venkateshwara Swami. Before that, it was called Varahadri. Later, it became known as Venkatadri.
Many people do not seek the darshana of Varaha Swami before going to have Venkateshwara darshana. But if we skip that step, then we will not earn the merit of having Venkateshwara darshana. Lord Varaha is the land owner. He is the one who gave that site to Lord Venkateshwara.
Pujya Sri Swamiji always says that we should not ignore land donors who contributed lands to construct temples. You must invite them, says Appaji. Even if they don't come, you must invite not just them, but their subsequent generations as well.
But, cautions Appaji, those landowners should not have any ego feeling that they donated the land.
These, listeners, are two very important points which Venkateshwara Charita teaches us.
Persons who are having land issues, persons who want to own a house, those who are experiencing difficulties in completing the construction of their house, all such persons must pray to Varaha Swami.
In his Varaha Avatara, Lord Sri Hari incarnated as a giant boar or a giant pig. We say Varaha is a pig, but the word Varaha has such beautiful meaning. The word Varaha is the combination of Vara and Aha, which means this day is a good day. Lord Varaha is the bestower of Varas or boons.
Many people dislike pigs, but Varaha is a great animal. Every animal has its own purpose. That is the reason the Lord created animals and birds. Look at some of the incarnations we have already discussed. Matsya Avatara, when the Lord incarnated as a fish, Kurma Avatara, when he incarnated as a giant tortoise, and now Varaha Avatara, when he incarnated as a giant boar. These forms are reminding us that just as those forms protected creation, so too we must protect God's creation. So when it is hot outside, put out some water in a dish or a bowl. Birds will come and drink. Sprinkle a few grains here and there. They will come and eat. Even if ants feed on those grains, you are performing Annadanam, the great savor of giving food to one who is hungry.
Look at the efforts to which Puja Appaji has gone to protect birds and rehabilitate injured birds. He established the great Guinness World Record winning aviary known as Shukavana. Listeners, they may seem small. We may associate them with only making a mess of our patio furniture or vehicles, but we should learn to see birds as much more than this. They are so important because, as Puja Appaji has said, the world is protected by birds.
Did you know that while rearing pigeons, yes, can predispose you to respiratory illnesses, having a pigeon visit you is a good omen? And this is not some superstition. We learned during the Shatashloki Ramayanam series on Datta Arpanam that there are definite good and bad omens, good and bad signs. So, while you are not by any means being encouraged to keep pigeons inside your home or to rear them, at the same time, heed Puja Appaji's words and do not drive away pigeons.
Bhakti or devotion is not just about performing pujas or going to temples. It is also about being kind to God's creation and fostering such kindness in the younger generations as well. All of these are parts of bhakti. The Lord will be pleased with such activities.
People keep killing mosquitoes non-stop. They search for them and kill them using electrical equipment, zappers, etc. That is sin, says both Puja Appaji and Sri Balaswamiji. Protect yourself from mosquitoes, but don't kill them. This does not mean that you have to do penance sitting amidst mosquitoes, but cover your body to protect your skin, or put on a fan, or even if these do not work, install insect proofing in your home. It is easily available in Trinidad. Do not harm other creatures. Do not cultivate such cruel attitude in children. If you teach your son that it is acceptable to kill an insect or an animal, then today he kills mosquitoes, tomorrow he may kill someone else. Listeners, as Puja Sri Balaswamiji has said, himsa or cruelty is one and the same no matter where that cruelty is directed. If you have ahimsa in your mind, in other words, if you have the mentality of non-cruelty in your mind, then that ahimsa should apply to all.
But sometimes, based on vasanas or past life tendencies, or based on behaviors learnt in this life, it can be difficult to eradicate all traces of himsa within us. So how do we replace that himsa with ahimsa? Well, a good place to start is by bringing the mind to a higher, more noble, more spiritual altar. The free app SGS Posts is a shining example of such an altar. By daily sharing short memes on dharmic conduct and practices, Puja Appaji is coaching us on how to live uplifting lives. He is teaching us how to avoid building up a papa score, how to avoid accumulating sin or bad merit. So everyone, download the SGS Posts app. It is available for both Android and iOS devices, and it is free.
But it is important that you do not just download the app, but that you also read the posts daily and try to use them as the building blocks for positive change within. That is when you will really see just how valuable this free app is.
Another app you should all download is the Bhajanmala app, which contains the words to Puja Appaji's and Sri Balaswamiji's bhajan compositions.
Listeners, when your mind is tending to go towards thoughts of anger, thoughts of harm, by words or deeds, thoughts of self-deprecation, one of the most powerful lifelines to pull you out of that downward spiral is the bhajan compositions of Puja Appaji. So download the Bhajanmala app and learn his bhajans. That way you can sing any day, anytime, all the time.
In fact, why not sing right now? For those of you who have the app already, please open it now. For those of you who do not, please download it. Open the app to Bhajan ID number 2137 and join in worshipping Mother Goddess.
Sa Lakshmi, Sa Durga, Sa Mampaya Durgi Lakshmi, Sa Lakshmi, Sa Durga, Sa Mampaya Durgi Lakshmi, Sa Lakshmi, Sa Durga, Sa Mampaya Durgi Lakshmi, Sa Lakshmi, Sa Durga, Sa Mampaya Durgi Lakshmi. దుర్గమాసుర ధ్వంసకారిణి దుర్గతివ్యత దోషకారిణి భర్గవల్లభ భవ్య విభ్రమ నిర్గతాఖిల ద్వైత సంభ్రమ భర్గవల్లభ భవ్య విభ్రమ నిర్గతాఖిల ద్వైత సంభ్రమ దుర్గమాసుర ధ్వంసకారిణి దుర్గతివ్యత దోషకారిణి భర్గవల్లభ భవ్య విభ్రమ నిర్గతాఖిల ద్వైత సంభ్రమ భర్గవల్లభ భవ్య విభ్రమ నిర్గతాఖిల ద్వైత సంభ్రమ సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి లక్ష్మీరేష శశిభూష సజ్జన సంపత్కరతోష లక్ష్మీరేష శశిభూష సజ్జన సంపత్కరతోష సౌమ్య సుందర తరవేష జ్ఞాన సంగ ద్వయపోష సౌమ్య సుందర తరవేష జ్ఞాన సంగ ద్వయపోష లక్ష్మీరేష శశిభూష సజ్జన సంపత్కరతోష లక్ష్మీరేష శశిభూష సజ్జన సంపత్కరతోష సౌమ్య సుందర తరవేష జ్ఞాన సంగ ద్వయపోష సౌమ్య సుందర తరవేష జ్ఞాన సంగ ద్వయపోష సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి హింసనం నశ్యతి సౌమ్యతా వర్ధతే హింసనం నశ్యతి సౌమ్యతా వర్ధతే శ్రీచ జ్ఞానం తథా యద్బలాత్ దృంభతే శ్రీచ జ్ఞానం తథా యద్బలాత్ దృంభతే సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి యత్పదాంభోజయో భావనా పావన యత్పదాంభోజయో భావనా పావన సచ్చిదానందదా దుర్గీ లక్ష్మీరియం సచ్చిదానందదా దుర్గీ లక్ష్మీరియం సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా లక్ష్మీ సా దుర్గా సా మాం పాయాత్ దుర్గీ లక్ష్మి సా सा लक्ष्मी सा दुर्गा सा मां पायात् दुर्गी लक्ष्मी.
In the age of Kali, when it is difficult for the mind to stay still for even 1 minute, our only medicine is Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. That is one of the greatest beauties of singing bhajans like that one. Bhajans composed by Parama Pujya Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji. His bhajans bring us on to and keep us on the path of Bhakti Yoga.
And it's not only that, so divine are Puja Appaji's bhajan compositions that they not only lead us on the path of Bhakti Yoga, but when we sing them, we also gain jnana while performing karma yoga. How blessed we all are to be privy to such divine treasures.
Indeed. You are tuned in to Datta Arpanam, which is coming to you on 103.1 FM through the grace of Pujya Sri Swamiji, and thanks to the sponsorship by Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, Valini's Drug Mart Limited, and Kokie Supermart Limited.
Before today's Devi Bhajan, the topic of ahimsa or non-violence or non-cruelty was being discussed. We must remember that when we speak ill of others, we are engaging in himsa or cruelty. When we deliberately kill innocent animals or insects or spiders or any of God's creation, that too is himsa. Cruelty is not what we should teach children. Instead, we should teach them mercy, teach them compassion.
In Shloka 30 of chapter 6 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna gave us the recipe for developing that sort of compassion towards all beings when he said, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sacha me na pranashyati. Here, the Lord explained to Arjuna that one who sees Paramatma or the Supreme Self in all living beings and in all objects in creation, and who also perceives all these objects as existing in the Lord, such a person can never lose sight of God. I too, says Sri Krishna, referring here to Paramatman, I too will never lose sight of him. So listeners, if we practice recognizing the presence of the Lord's divine energy in all of creation, then feelings of love, compassion and mercy will automatically sprout within us.
These are important takeaways from the stories shared thus far on this Dashavatara series on Datta Arpanam. So far, stories have been connected with some animal or the other. First, Matsya Avatara was discussed. The story of that incarnation teaches us to protect water creatures. Same with Kurma Avatara.
Varaha Avatara, that boar incarnation of the Lord, is closer to earth. To stay close to all of us, the Lord took this form and came amidst us.
And remembering that the Lord incarnated in this boar form, the words of Sri Krishna again come to mind. Remember in Shlokas 7 and 8 of chapter 4 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he said,
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkratam dharma samsthapanarthaya Sambhavami yuge yuge.
In these two very well-known shlokas, Sri Krishna explained to Arjuna that when dharma is in danger and when adharma is on the rise, then he incarnates. For the protection of the righteous and for the establishment of dharma or righteous conduct, in every yuga he incarnates.
So if this is the purpose of his incarnations, then what was happening to prompt his incarnation as Varaha Swami? Well, tune in to Datta Arpanam next Sunday at 6 a.m. to find out. Today, before wrapping up Datta Arpanam, we wanted to share an important piece of information which we should remember, especially at this time. But first, let us join in worshipping the one who, by just mentioning his name, all these thoughts were inspired. Let us worship Lord Varaha as we join Pujya Sri Bala Swamiji in singing this bhajan composed by Parama Pujya Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji.
वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री वराल कुंड नमो नमो धरणी देविनि उद्धरिंचिन धरणी देविनि उद्धरिंचिन कोरल बलमुकु नमो नमो कोरल बलमुकु नमो नमो हिरण्याक्षुनि संहरिंचिन हिरण्याक्षुनि संहरिंचिन हरिशौर्यानिकि नमो नमो हरिशौर्यानिकि नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो श्रीनिवास स्थलमुनु इच्चिन श्रीनिवास स्थलमुनु इच्चिन श्रीनिधिपति की नमो नमो श्रीनिधिपति की नमो नमो वाणी सन्नुत मृदुपद देवुकु वाणी सन्नुत मृदुपद देवुकु सच्चिदानंद कु नमो नमो सच्चिदानंद कु नमो नमो सच्चिदानंद कु नमो नमो सच्चिदानंद कु नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराह स्वामी की श्री हरि की वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराल कुंड नमो नमो वराल कुंड नमो नमो जय बोलो वराह स्वामी की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय
Om Shri Datta Varaha Swami Ji Ki Jai. Listeners, as promised before that bhajan, a special reminder is coming to you today on Datta Arpanam. As most, if not all of you would know, we are now in the period of Pitra Paksha. Pujya Sri Swamiji has said that if we want peace for our forefathers, we should chant chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Who knows what worlds our ancestors are in? But, says Appaji, they will all attain higher worlds if you do Parayana of chapter 3 daily. The story of Jada reveals the greatness of this third chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
There was a man called Jada who, although unable to absorb knowledge, used to dress like a Brahmin and do pujas for others. He would freely take donations from everyone. Time passed and Jada got married and had a child. He started developing bad habits, including drinking alcohol, gambling, and keeping the company of courtesans.
To fulfill his sinful desires, Jada needed more and more money, and so he began deceiving and looting people to earn that money. But no matter how much he earned, the money was never enough to fulfill his desires. As Pooja Appaji has said, once you give in to desires, how can you get enough money? A real human will only earn as much as is needed.
Yet Jada never had enough money. He even began to murder people, and so Jada wasted the prime of his life in such sinful actions.
But time keeps changing. It never stays still. The wicked Jada's body also underwent changes. He grew old, and with old age, his energy levels dwindled. Jada wasn't able to move as quickly as he used to. Yet, fueled by greed, he decided to go to the north to earn money. He left his house and began to recklessly steal from others.
With no regard for rules or morals, Jada continued looting. As time passed, his health declined further. He grew older and had very little energy. It was only then that he felt that he had earned enough money, and now he wanted to return home. He found a group of people who were traveling to his hometown and, toting his bag of wealth, decided to join them.
As it was not a good idea to walk through the woods unaccompanied, Jada began walking with that group through the woods. He was old and his diseases had progressed. This slowed him down. After walking for some time, Jada grew tired and settled under a tree to sleep. While sleep did come, Jada awoke in the middle of the night and suffered a heart attack. He was unable to call for help. He died right there in the forest.
Morning came and the group of travelers found him dead. They took Jada's bag of money and then cremated him.
Jada's son was a young man waiting for his father, but he was not a sinner like Jada. He was a pious man and observed rules and morals. Daily he chanted chapter 3 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and worshipped it like God.
The group of travelers who had found the deceased Jada went to his son and told him about what had happened. The son was aggrieved. He asked where the father had passed away and realized that the place was en route to Kashi. This pious son wanted to perform some final rites for his father. He wanted to go to Kashi to help his father attain a good state in the afterworld. This good son then set out with his friends.
After 9 days, Jada's son reached the place where his father had passed away. Due to his pious nature, this son was able to identify the place where the father had passed. But he also realized that his father was still lingering around there as an evil spirit.
The son dipped in a river, and as he did every day, he chanted chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita.
The moment the Parayana ended, that good son heard a loud sound. A divine plane descended and some divine beings came to take Jada.
The evil spirit Jada now started to shine like a divine being as well. The son ran to his father and fell at his feet and asked, "Father, I just saw you as an evil spirit. How did you suddenly gain this divine form?"
The father replied, "It is due to your chanting that this happened. You chanted chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita at the top of your voice. When you did this, my sins were immediately burned away and divine beings came for me. It is due to that I am now in a divine form. You need not do any more rites for me. You may go home."
Listeners, having heard this powerful account which was told by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati on the greatness of Parayana of chapter 3 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, let us join together now and chant these 43 shlokas. May Sri Krishna be pleased with this offering. May Pujya Sri Swamiji be pleased with this offering. May the mains be pleased with this offering. Om Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha.
For anyone who may need to find the words to chant along but do not have a copy of Bhagavad Gita at hand, simply open the Bhajan Mala app or website, enter Stotra ID number 2275 and chant along with Pujya Sri Swamiji. As per Pujya Sri Swamiji's instruction, when any chapter of Bhagavad Gita is chanted, in order to obtain the merit of chanting that chapter, Shloka 66 of chapter 18 should be chanted at the end of the chapter being chanted. So, if you also need to find the words for that shloka, they can be found by scrolling down to the 66th verse when you enter shloka number 2290 on the Bhajan Mala app. So, once again, chapter 3 is Stotra ID number 2275 and chapter 18 2290. Please join in chanting.
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः कर्मयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव। व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानाम् कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम् न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यम् पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः। कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते। यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वम् कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः। यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर। सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ। इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायेभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः। यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्। अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः। कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्। एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति। यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते। नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः। तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः। कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणम् कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि यदि ह्यहम् न वर्तेय जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्याम् कर्म चेदहम् शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद्विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम् न बुद्धिभेदम् जनयेत् अज्ञानाम् कर्मसङ्गिनाम् जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः ये मे मतमिदम् नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टानचेतसः सदृशम् चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिम् यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किम् करिष्यति इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम् पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजो गुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्धेनमिह वैरिणम् धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथा दर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम् आवृतम् ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम् तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानम् प्रजहिह्येनम् ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम् इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परम् मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः एवम् बुद्धेः परम् बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुम् महाबाहो कामरूपम् दुरासदम् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायाम् योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः।
Remember, everyone, for the upliftment of our ancestors, we should chant those verses every day. And now we begin to wrap up today's episode of Datta Arpanam.
Pranams and gratitude are offered at the divine feet of beloved Sadguru Deva, Parama Pujya Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji and Pujya Shri 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 Datta Vijayananda Tirtha Swamiji, without whose teachings, compassion, love, guidance and music, this program would not exist.
Pranams to you, Puja Appaji and Sri Bala Swamiji. Kindly forgive any errors which may have been committed in preparing or in sharing today's episode of Datta Arpanam, and please guide us to avoid such errors in the future.
Special thanks are extended to the staff at 103.1 FM and to the sponsors of Datta Arpanam: Ramlal Educational Institute, Debe Supermart Limited, Valini's Drug Mart Limited and Kokie Supermart Limited. And of course, dear listener, an extra special thank you is extended to you for sharing your Sunday morning with us.
Remember, if you would like to listen to today's offering again, the podcast will be uploaded to 103.1 FM's website by tomorrow evening. Simply visit www.103fm.tt, click on podcasts and scroll down to Datta Arpanam. Alternatively, you can also access the link via the Datta Arpanam Facebook page.
Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. You are invited to please tune in to 103.1 FM again next Sunday at 6 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time for another episode of Datta Arpanam, a showcase of the life, music and teachings of His Holiness Parama Pujya Shri 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 Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji.
Jai Guru Datta.
Shri Guru Datta. Harihi Om Tat Sat.
प्रभुपद सेवा निरतमती
प्रभुपद सेवा
निरतमती स्वामी मारुति स्वामी मारुति प्रभुपद सेवा निरतमती
प्रभुपद सेवा निरतमति स्वामी मारुति स्वामी मारुति
रोम रोम तेरा राम राम कहे
राम 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 राम
रोम रोम तेरा राम राम कहे
रोम रोम तेरा राम राम कहे राम सारथी
श्री राम सारथी रोम रोम तेरा राम राम कहे
रोम रोम तेरा राम राम कहे
राम सारथी राम सारथी प्रभुपद सेवा निरतमती
प्रभुपद सेवा निरतमति स्वामी मारुति स्वामी मारुति
नवविध भक्ति सिमटी मूरत
नवविध भक्ति
सिमटी मूरत
ज्ञानी महाबली ज्ञानी महाबली
नवविध भक्ति सिमटी मूरत
नवविध भक्ति
सिमटी मूरत
ज्ञानी महाबली ज्ञानी महाबली
शिव के अंशज हे कपीश तुम,
शिव के अंशज हे कपीश तुम, नवयुग ब्रह्मादि, नवयुग ब्रह्मादि।
शिव के अंशज हे कपीश तुम,
शिव के अंशज हे कपीश तुम, नवयुग ब्रह्मादि, नवयुग ब्रह्मादि।
प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति,
स्वामी मारुति, प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति, स्वामी मारुति। रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी, रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी।
मन बुद्धि को सही राग दो,
मन बुद्धि को
सही राग दो,
नाद ब्रह्म स्वामी, नाद ब्रह्म स्वामी।
मन बुद्धि को सही राग दो,
मन बुद्धि को
सही राग दो,
नाद ब्रह्म स्वामी, नाद ब्रह्म स्वामी।
सीताराम मिलन वारधि,
सीताराम मिलन वारधि, प्राण संजीवनी, प्राण संजीवनी।
सीताराम मिलन वारधि,
सीताराम मिलन वारधि, प्राण संजीवनी, प्राण संजीवनी।
प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति,
स्वामी मारुति, प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति,
स्वामी मारुति।
रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी, रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी।
अष्ट सिद्धिवर योग वृद्धि कर,
अष्ट सिद्धिवर योग वृद्धि कर, कार्य सिद्धि स्वामी, कार्य सिद्धि स्वामी।
अष्ट सिद्धिवर योग वृद्धि कर,
अष्ट सिद्धिवर योग वृद्धि कर, कार्य सिद्धि स्वामी, कार्य सिद्धि स्वामी।
सुपथ शिखर पर ले चल हमको,
पथ शिखर पर ले चल हमको, सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि।
सुपथ शिखर पर ले चल हमको,
पथ शिखर पर ले चल हमको, सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि। स्वामी सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि, स्वामी सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि, स्वामी सच्चिदानंदादि, सच्चिदानंदादि, स्वामी सच्चिदानंदादि। प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति, स्वामी मारुति, प्रभु पद सेवा निरतमति, स्वामी मारुति। रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी, रोम रोम तेरा राम राम करे राम सारथी। श्री राम सारथी, श्री राम सारथी, श्री राम सारथी, श्री राम सारथी,
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत्